Across the infinite stretches of the Milky Way, untold danger lurks in every star system. In this celestial void, a confederation of brave space adventurers have joined together to keep the galaxy safe from the forces of tyranny and subjugation. Join us for the interstellar adventures of the most daring of these galactic defenders of freedom, Captain Cometfire of the Cosmo Corps! A civilization has reached a new chapter of its existence, and the Cosmo Corps sends its finest ship to welcome the fledgling world into the larger galaxy.
No.
Hey, we can't be showing favoritism now, can we?
We are landing in a relatively unpopulated continent of the planet expressly because it is not under the sway of any of the more powerful empires. That is as close to diplomatic neutrality as this mission will allow.
Or we let the captain land at the capital of the Eastern Empire, while you and I hop in my Star Splicer and visit the capital of the West.
One empire gets a flagship and an entire corps of diplomats.
And the other empire gets me. So, hopefully the East won't be too jealous.
No.
Come on.
Commander, while it is true that I am a telepath, I don't need to read your mind to know you simply want to visit the Western capital because it is on a carbon shore.
Diamond Beach in a twin sun system with average temps at 27 degrees Celsius. Can you blame me?
Yes.
That was rhetorical.
No, it wasn't.
Bark, woof, woof, bark.
Well, if you want to make yourself a dress uniform, go program it into the fabricator.
Woof, bark, woof.
I don't know, Roxy, red, maybe? Believe me, there's nothing super great about a dress uniform.
Problem, Kenny?
No, Commander, it's just really uncomfortable. I don't think I understand why we're wearing armor on a diplomatic mission.
First time a planet meets folks from off-world, things can get a little dicey, I'm afraid. It just takes one xenophobe to suddenly go into fight-or-flight response, and, trust me, you'll be happy to have something between you and their weapons.
Though it is not necessarily that dangerous. I prefer to think of it as a simple precaution.
Sorry, I missed the opening lines. Are we sugarcoating things or trying to freak him out?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Let me guess. Uniform?
How did you know?
Because I gave special orders that your armor be reinforced. Kenny, we give you a lot of responsibilities, but you're still a child. I don't consider this a particularly dangerous first meeting, but I'm doing everything in my power to make sure your first diplomatic mission isn't your last.
I'm pretty sure it'll be safe, Captain. They have reasonably strong telescopes, and they're not as far from some of the major transportation routes as something like Earth. Honestly, I think most of the populace knows there's other intelligent life. It just hasn't really affected them until now.
How is progress on the translation matrix?
Woof, bark, bark, bark.
The dog is in charge of that?
Woof, woof.
Easy, girl. Roxy and the ship's computer are both working on the matrix, but it's more of Roxy's specialty. The program's running in the background to help us refine what we know so far, but we've already got about 90% of 8 of the major languages. And the closer we get, the easier it is to monitor the satellite activity. We can access more and more of the data, and the process should speed up exponentially.
It's always a little awkward when the new civilization realizes we've been monitoring all their satellite communications. Some societies don't take it so well.
Well, I, for one, have to fight to keep a straight face when they hear us speaking their language.
And as your commanding officer, Josh, I would appreciate it if you'd fight a little harder on that point.
Duly noted.
Bark, 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 bark.
What is it, girl?
That doesn't sound good.
Captain, there is a new transmission from the planet, and it is addressed to us specifically.
I am the great Pestro, traveler from across the 1,000 galaxies. Millennia ago, my people came to this planet to prepare it as a way station for our eventual return. In exchange for the use of their planet, my people gave the ancestors of this planet great knowledge and sealed the covenant by erecting the great monuments.
That's an interesting story.
It is true, Captain. The records of the coming of the Bright Ones has been preserved in the ancient texts. They have many names, but in all cases they came to our world and brought us the gifts of agriculture and the harnessing of the rivers.
All right, but how can you verify that Pestro is one of these bright ones? No offense intended, of course.
Your skepticism is not unexpected, though I had hoped it would be beneath you.
But there is no need to doubt. Here are the images of the bright ones as presented by the builders of the great monuments. You can see the crown of fire upon them, and see how closely it matches the bioluminescent brow ridge of Pestro's species.
A strong resemblance, surely. Though the sketchings are a bit stylized.
And still, the ancient ones have recorded their coming.
And as a symbol of our compact, we gave the people of this world the great monuments, so that our bargain should never be forgotten.
Forgive me, what precisely are the great monuments?
We have over 100 of these massive stone structures, clearly far too advanced for ancient people to have assembled without help.
I have seen some of the things ancient people have pulled off on my own planet. You might be surprised.
No, it simply defies belief.
But we journey afar from the point of this conversation. We wish to welcome the Cosmo Corps, indeed, all of the representatives of this sector of your galaxy. I have provided the people of this land with the knowledge to build a way station on our largest moon. With some assistance, we can build this world into a destination visited from all points.
That would certainly be welcomed. The region is along a major trade route, but just now only the largest ships have the fuel reserves necessary to transport materials between the major empires. A way station in this location would open up opportunities for many new entrepreneurs. It's frankly something we had hoped to work with your planet to develop.
And I welcome your assistance in bringing these poor people into a new age.
Of course. Now, you had mentioned that your people have mastered intergalactic travel. That's certainly a technology we would be interested in learning.
I am certain, Captain, and we can perhaps have this conversation later. It will take some time to build up the infrastructure on this planet to the point where we can construct the intergalactic transporters. Until then, my loyalties must remain with the people of this planet, with whom I have shared a compact.
Commendable.
Well, as the situation has changed so drastically, I believe we'll need to reassess the points of negotiation. We'll be in touch soon. In the meantime, Galavan, and Pestro, of course, please allow us to welcome your world into a larger community.
Thank you, Captain. We look forward to your next communication.
We could kill him.
Don't tempt me.
One targeted blast from orbit, clean as a whistle.
It's a terrible idea, Josh.
I don't usually come up with the good ideas, just the satisfying ones.
Clearly his story has some discrepancies,
He's a con man.
and it should be relatively easy to prove that.
Did you pick up anything psychically?
I would not expect to at this distance. But to be frank,
You suspect he's got some sort of defense in the glowing rocks installed in his head.
I suppose they could be a natural part of his species' appearance.
And I could be a natural blonde. But I'm not.
This does not seem like a well-thought-out plan.
It's risky, but the rewards for pulling it off are impressive. He's got a whole planet under his thumb. It wouldn't have been hard to figure this planet was due to be approached by the Corps. He sets up monitors to learn language and culture, mimics the local creation mythology, and makes his grand entrance.
He gets together some decades-old technology, which is nevertheless centuries ahead of what the locals have, and he starts performing miracles.
And now he'll be working to create the new way station, over which I'm sure he'll have complete control. The traders who show up there won't really care whether he's one of the bright ones or not.
But he has to know we'd expose him.
Easier said than done. He's basically a religious figure on the planet at this point. We can't just force him out of his position without alienating most of the population. And if we're too heavy-handed about dealing with him, the people of the planet might refuse to have any ties to us whatsoever.
So, do we have a plan?
I repeat, we could kill him.
Bark, woof, woof,
How far?
woof, bark.
What's she saying?
The stones which make up this archway, that kind of sandstone isn't from anywhere around here. Roxy's estimating the closest source where this could be from is more than 100 kilometers from here.
Yes, we've traced the stone to a quarry on the other side of the peninsula.
They've got to weigh 20 tons each.
And despite their size, these were brought here across a tremendous distance centuries ago.
It's sort of like the slabs that make up Stonehenge back on Earth. They were also transported over vast distances.
Was your civilization also blessed with a visit from the Bright Ones?
If we were, I'm afraid none of the records survived. Our prevailing theories are more terrestrially based, but the truth is that we don't know.
Until the great Pestro appeared, there were some on our world who believed our ancestors somehow created these structures, but it truly defies logic.
Captain?
I see it.
May I ask a question of you?
Of course.
How is it that I am able to understand you?
Oh, that's Roxy. We've programmed your languages into our matrix, and she's catching the sound waves, so what you end up hearing is your language.
Woof, woof, bark.
Then why do I only hear the animal noises from her?
Woof, bark, woof, bark.
Oh, thank you.
May I ask what you are doing here, Captain?
Pestro. Or Great Pestro. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the customs regarding titles here.
Oh, great Pestro! This is an amazing moment in my life.
We were intrigued by the great monuments and wanted to see them for ourselves. I trust that isn't a problem.
No, of course not. But I had hoped you would have let me know when you were coming. You will understand that I need to protect these people from the influence of the outside. But I'm sure I have nothing to fear here. You have been in good hands?
Certainly. The docent here has made our visit extremely educational.
You do me an honor by honoring our guests.
Sir, I may have been a skeptic before, but seeing this place, I have to agree. Only an advanced civilization such as yours could have put something together like this. I just have to shake your hand.
Kenny, control yourself. Physical touch has so many meanings across cultures, you never initiate contact during a diplomatic meeting. Great Pestro, please accept my sincere apologies on behalf of the Cosmo Corps.
Of course. No harm is done. But perhaps this has been too much excitement. I suggest you return to your ship. We will continue our discussions at a later point.
I appreciate your understanding. Kenny, you and I are going to have a very long discussion back on the Quasar's heart.
This moon is not tidally locked with your planet as some of the others are. The benefit is that you do not need to decide on the placement of the station on aesthetic grounds.
I don't understand.
Some planets do not wish to change the view of their satellites for reasons of sentimentality, perhaps. Others wish to gaze with pride upon the accomplishment of their species. There is no right choice, of course, but in either case, it is not a decision you need to make on this moon.
The more important question regards its suitability as a way station, Commander.
The area is geologically stable, and there is enough magnetism in the core of the moon to shield it from cosmic rays. The only concern I see would be the lack of atmosphere. You'll need to construct some locations to maintain a breathable atmosphere for those who work here. Domes are a popular choice, but you may wish to add your own architectural uniqueness to the...
Designate Corvin Jorso.
What?
We are agents of the Togavarian Collective. You are wanted for fraud and corruption charges in Homeland 3.2.
What is going on?
Agents, I am Commander Stellashine of the Cosmo Corps. This is a rather delicate diplomatic mission. Can you explain yourselves?
We've been alerted to the genetic signature of this criminal. It is a total match with the profile of the accused.
This is preposterous.
Commander, you must stop them.
May I see your genetic analysis, Agent?
Of course.
Oh, dear. I'm afraid this is quite conclusive.
There must be some mistake.
This would indicate otherwise. But of course, the Cosmo Corps will review the evidence in greater detail. If there's been a mistake, I'm sure we'll be able to get to the bottom of it. But for now, all appearances are that the man you know as the Great Pestro is in reality a rather notorious criminal by the name of Corvin Dristle.
That's not possible. You have to stop them.
We can't possibly interfere with a planetary law enforcement team acting in good faith.
Good faith? This is ridiculous. How could they have even obtained a genetic sample from me?
I'm sure it could have been from anywhere. Skin cells, hair sample, a simple handshake.
You.
Come with us, accused.
Commander, you must intervene.
I assure you, Galavan, we will do everything in our power to see to it that the truth comes out. However, if these accusations are correct, then it may be in your planet's best interests that they are brought to light now. Regardless, whether these are valid or invalid accusations, it does not change the fact that your civilization is on the verge of a new era. I hope that we may continue to join you on that journey. Welcome to the larger universe.
And so the light of truth shines once again across the interstellar void, thanks to the efforts of Captain Cometfire of the Cosmo Corps. You have been listening to Captain Cometfire of the Cosmo Corps, Episode 4, produced by Seat of Our Pants players, written and directed by Dan Wenzel. The announcer was Dan Wenzel. Commander Darkmoon was Adam Gastongi. Commander Stellashine was Andy Gastongi. Kenny Cosmoid was Aaron Manka-White. Roxy the Robohound was Jill Wenzel. Captain Cometfire was Rebecca Scheimer. The Great Pestro was Rick Tennant. Galavan was Liz Music. The Docent was Brianna Kubi. And the Togavarian agents were Andrew Dell and Morgan Gastongi. Some music and sound effects by www.freesfx.co.uk. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Pipsqueak, saddle up. There's a despicable desperado we got to get our hands on.
Yes, sir! What's the scoundrel's name?
Sahab Han O'Toole.
Are you sure that's how that's pronounced?
It's how it's spelled.
Siobhan.
What?
The name is pronounced Siobhan. And why are you recording lines I never wrote?
Well, if someone were to pledge $15 a month to our Patreon, they could have their name appear as a character in one of our plays.
So Bree and I thought we'd get in some practice in case some more challenging names came up.
I see. Well, I admire that enthusiasm, but I would be asking for guidance to pronounce their names before I pass them on to you. We'd want to get it right before we immortalize them in our stories.
Oh.
So Dan made brownies.
I'm in.
Before you go, would you mind?
Oh, right. Thank you from all of us at Seat of Our Pants players to all of our supporters on Patreon.
With an extra special thanks to the individual supporting us at the Founder of the Feast level.
Please consider supporting us at patreon.com/seatofourpantsplayers.